There is a moment in every warrior's life when he feels the blade, not in his hand, but in his heart. Not the sword of battle, but the invisible thread wrapped around his soul. A tie to a person, a past, a promise never kept, and it tightens every time he breathes. You tell yourself it's loyalty. You call it compassion. You whisper that it is love. But deep down, you know it's a leash. A warrior does not chain himself to what weakens him. He does not kneel to memories. He does not water dead roots. He does not feed ghosts. He walks forward, even if it means walking alone. Because every step he delays, the blade inches closer to his throat. The tie you refuse to cut will be the hand that strangles your discipline, the voice that breaks your clarity, the shadow that steals your stillness, the weight that cracks your spine in the heat of war. And you wonder why your edge feels dull, why your breath is short, why the fire you once held has gone cold. It's because you have not burned what needed to be burned. You have not buried what begged for death. You cling to a rope made of thorns and wonder why you bleed. This is not the way. Musashi did not look back. He cut what tried to follow, not out of hatred but out of precision, not out of malice but out of necessity. A warrior chooses the path, not the passengers. You say, "But I care. But I miss them. But I gave my heart." Then take your broken heart and make it your whetstone. Sharpen yourself on the ache. Grind down the weakness. Let the pain carve you clean. Because the battlefield does not wait. Your enemies do not care who you loved. Your mind does not grow stronger through nostalgia. You want to honor the past? Then outgrow it. Not with bitterness, but with clarity. You are not here to preserve comfort. You are here to preserve power, purpose, precision. So cut the tie before it cuts you. That voice in your head whispering, "Go back." That memory that visits you when you try to sleep. That name you keep repeating in silence. Ask yourself, does it train you? Does it steal your breath? Does it build your stillness? No? Then it is the enemy. Not the one outside, but the one within. And that is the deadliest kind. You see, a man can lose a fight and still live. But a man who loses his focus dies before the blade ever touches him. You are not losing sleep because life is hard. You are losing sleep because you refuse to sever what no longer serves. Attachment is not love. It is a form of fear. Fear that without them, you will vanish. But listen closely. You are not defined by what you lost. You are refined by what you let go of. The greatest warriors do not carry the past like armor. They carry silence, stillness, space for clarity. They walk forward with nothing but breath and blade. Because that is all that is truly yours. Everything else is a test, a weight, a whisper from the world trying to slow your pace. You must become deaf to that whisper. Let go, not to feel free, but to become formidable. The moment you cut the tie, you will feel pain, but it will be clean pain, warrior pain, pain that purifies, not poisons. That is the kind of pain worth enduring. And once you do, once the tie is gone, once the blood dries, once the silence returns, you will feel your grip tighten. You will feel your spine straighten. You will feel your breath become deep again. Not because you won, but because you finally stopped losing. There is no peace in holding on to what is already gone. The sword is sharpest when it is alone, untethered, balanced. So should you be. You were not born with chains. They were handed to you, through promises, through guilt, through the comfort of shared weakness. But you are not here to carry chains. You are here to carry the weight of your own blade, to walk into storms with your spine straight, to let the wind rip everything from you that is not essential, to be stripped bare until only the core remains, the warrior within. That is the path, and it is not kind. It demands that you choose between sentiment and strength, between memory and movement, between the warmth of what was and the fire of what must become. You cannot have both. So many men stay stuck in the in-between, one foot in the fire, one in the ashes, and then they wonder why their legs no longer carry them forward. You were not made to beg for closure. You were not made to wait for apologies. You were made to stand up, draw the line, and sever with clarity. Not because you are cold, but because your path demands heat. You must walk through the fire, not around it. Let it burn every soft whisper that ever told you to settle. Let it incinerate the rope you've wrapped around your soul. Every delay, every hesitation, is blood spilled from a self-inflicted wound. You cannot kill the old you if you are still feeding him with memory. So stop. Stop romanticizing the version of you who tolerated less. Stop glorifying the love that caged you. Stop mourning a bond that did not honor your strength. They left. Let them. It broke. Good. It was never built to withstand your rise anyway. The warrior walks forward not because he wants to, but because he must. Because to stand still is to rot. Understand this. What does not serve your mission is sabotage, even if it once felt like home. Even if it once whispered your name in the dark, even if it once made you feel whole, you are no longer that man, and that world no longer fits you. So do not shrink for the sake of nostalgia. Grow, rise, detach. And when the grief comes, because it will, greet it like an old rival. Bow your head, feel the cut, then return to the path with sharpened eyes. You are not here to chase love. You are here to embody it, through stillness, through presence, through mastery. You do not need their permission to move on. You do not need their understanding to grow. You do not need their voice to validate your fire. If the tie must be cut, cut it clean, with respect, with silence, and without flinching. This is not cruelty. This is precision. The same precision you use to cleave through doubt, the same precision that turns motion into mastery, the same precision that carved Musashi into legend. He did not weep for what he left behind. He honed himself into something too silent for sorrow, too focused to fall. And you are being called to do the same, not to numb, but to transcend, not to forget, but to become. This is your crucible. The rope around your mind is your training, and every strand you sever is a step toward freedom. So pull the blade, not with rage, but with resolve, not with emotion, but with finality. Cut the tie, before it cuts you deeper than you realize. Because once you are free, truly free, you will see how much of your suffering was self-inflicted, how much of your weakness was permission granted, how much of your delay was a choice. You'll look back at the silence and feel peace, not longing. You'll look at the emptiness and feel space, not loss. You'll look at your reflection and see a man who chose the harder path and did not flinch. That is the kind of man the world does not break. There is a stillness that only comes after the severing. A silence so vast, it rattles the bones of the man you once were. It is not empty, it is sacred. Because in that space, where the tie once lived, you now have clarity. No more noise, no more illusion, no more waiting for someone else to finish the battle within you. You are the blade, you are the hand that wields it, and you are the will that decides when it must fall. This is the law of the lone path. What is not forged with you must be left behind, even if it once felt like destiny, even if it once tasted like home, because destiny is not a gift. It is a decision made in silence. Home is not a person. It is a place you build within, brick by brick, discipline by discipline. And that's what you must become now. A home that cannot be shaken. A fire that needs no spark from the outside. A storm that bends for no one. Most will never understand this path. They will say you are cold, too distant, too detached. Let them speak. Let them soften in the warmth of their attachments. You are not like them. You are a weapon being honed in the fire of solitude. You are learning what it means to move without applause, to breathe without permission, to love without chains. You love through discipline now, through action, through sacrifice, not through compromise. There is a kind of love that asks you to shrink, to dim your flame for their comfort, to bend your will so they can sleep easy. But there is another kind of love, a love born from mastery. It does not beg, it does not cling, it does not ask you to cut yourself in half to feel whole. It stands, fully, without guilt, without noise. That is the love you must carry now. Love not as attachment, but as alignment. You align with your path, with your purpose, with your principles. Everything else, anyone else, must meet you there, or be left behind. That is not cruelty, that is clarity. Do not kneel to the memory of who you were just because it feels familiar. That man is gone. Honor him by moving forward, by not letting his sacrifices rot in stillness, by using the pain as fuel, not a leash. You are not here to repeat the same lessons. You are here to transcend them. So if the tide tries to return, if it knocks again in the middle of the night, if it whispers in the voice you once craved, stand firm. You do not owe it a reply. You owe it a funeral, not of hate, but of finality. Bury it with gratitude, with grace, with the silence of a man who has chosen his mountain. And then, rise. Rise not because it feels good, but because it is the way, the only way. Every great warrior has walked this road, the path of necessary severance, the path where peace is paid in blood, the path where silence screams louder than memory, and those who walk it without turning back become untouchable. Because what do you give a man who has let go of everything? What do you threaten him with when he has already buried his past? What do you take from him when he has trained himself to need nothing? The answer is nothing. That is power, unattached, unshaken, undeniable. So keep walking.